no doubt that that's exactly what happened. In fact, I have proof.
The proof that shows the body was carried from the biolab to the garden is this tarp.
I got it! What makes me so sure the body was carried from the biolab to the garden is the tarp that we found in the garden. When I was checking it over again, I noticed something. I noticed that some text had been stamped on one corner of the tarp.
In retrospect, we're all kind of morons for missing this giant stamp.
Oh, it says biolab.
Holy cow! How'd you notice that tiny little thing?
Makoto's nitpicky nature seems to have surfaced with perfect timing.
This proves that the tarp originally came from the biolab. In fact, there's a whole stack of tarps just like it in there.
So when the killer moved the body to the garden, they must have grabbed a tarp to wrap it in. Then they simply left it as it was to protect against the sprinklers, and put the code on it afterwards.
You made everything sound so amazingly consistent.
Was that a compliment from Toko?
That's just a wild guess.
I would have thought you had a little bit more composure than that, Monokuma.
Where's your evidence? Prove that the body was wrapped in a tarp and moved.
There is no evidence. I was simply explaining what I think happened. But you seem to be getting pretty worked up about it, wouldn't you say?
Worked up?
Now that the conversation has turned to the topic of the biolab, you must be getting pretty nervous. Because the key to uncovering your secret identity is hidden within that room, isn't it?
Are you talking about unmasking the mastermind?
You see, the biolab contained an inconsistency. One so major it can't be overlooked.
Inconsistency in the biolab? Could you be talking about...
La, 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 I can't hear you. La, 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 la.
Oh, come on.
Such a child. Oh well, just ignore him.
Ugh, I need to pull myself together and think. The inconsistency in the biolab. Could you be talking about...
By the way, Makoto, what about that one thing?
What one thing?
Why are you engaging with him?
What do you think? I'm talking about your family.
Why are you talking to him? What?
Don't tell me you forgot about that video message.
My dad looks exactly like the headmaster.
So what do you think? Are you sure your family's still okay?
Why are you bringing that up now?
Your mom, your dad, your little sister. What do you think has happened to your family? Are they really as safe as you might have assumed?
Stop talking about that!
Calm down, Makoto. He wants you to get upset.
Yeah, I need to calm down. I can't let him get to me. He's just saying that because he knows we're getting close to the truth of the biolab. So, if I want to shut him up, I need to expose the inconsistency and slam him with it. The moment of truth. Oh, it's a fight.
Are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? What? What do you want? Are you sure about this?
Stop repeating the same things.
Are you sure about this?
Yes, shut up.
Are you sure
I can
about
hit you with one of
this?
those.
Are you sure about this?
Load fire. Infinite ammo mode. Finish him off.
Sure about this? Are you sure about this? I'm not listening.
Fire, fire, fire!
This should prove it. The inconsistency Kyoko's talking about is the lights.
What are you talking about? What about the lights?
Like I said before, the biolab also acts as a morgue. And as part of that, A giant refrigerator was installed in there. That's where everyone who's died is stored.
And it was set up so that when a slot had a body in it, a blue light would turn on.
In other words, if the blue light is on, that means there's a body in that slot.
But I counted up the number of blue lights that were on, including the one Mukuro was in, and there were only 9.
Why does that matter? You gotta give me the bite-sized version here, man.
Dumb it down for me! 9 lights doesn't make sense. There should be 10!
I got it! 10 of the lights should have been on. Any other number is incredibly suspicious.
Suspicious? Why?
That's simple. Just recall who's died here so far, and it should become clear.
That's right. That's the key to solving this mystery. Sayaka died first. Junko was second. Leon was third. Chihiro was 4th. Mondo was 5th. Taka was 6th. Then Hifumi was 7th. Celeste was 8th. Sakura was 9th. And victim number 10 was Mukuro.
So 10 people in all?
That's right. Any other number should make you immediately suspicious. But according to the lights in the biolab, only 9 people were being stored there.
You're saying a dead body just up and disappeared?
I got it! The mastermind destroyed one of the bodies to get rid of evidence.
But if they wanted to do that, they would have destroyed Mukuro's body, since they actually killed her. And yet, her body was left alone.
Then, whose body disappeared?
It may very well be that none of them disappeared.
Well, if that's true, then why doesn't the body count match?
Including Monokuma's executions, there have apparently been 10 deaths, but there were only 9 bodies. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I'm completely lost. How can the number of victims be less than the number of murders?
The reason there are less bodies than murders, the explanation for more murders than victims. Why is that? What would it take for that to make sense? The same person was killed
What
twice.
about it? The same person was killed twice.
Huh? Killed twice?
Officially, 10 murders have been committed so far, but one of the victims may have been murdered, and then murdered again.
Murdered and murdered again?
If that's the case, there could have been 10 killings, but still only 9 victims, right?
Technically, you're right, I guess. Still, something like that.
Could easily have happened. No, it is what happened.
Sounds like you're already convinced. Then can you tell us who was killed twice?
It was Mukuro, of course. Before she was killed as Mukuro Ikusaba, she was killed as someone else.
And that's why the body had to be stored in the biolab until the moment we found it in the garden.
No, that's crazy talk. She was killed as someone else? Come on! Besides, who could that someone else even have been?
If this is what I think it is, then this is one of the coolest twists I've ever experienced. And I'll talk about it after we get through all of this, but I am very pumped about this twist.
All you have to do is look at those bodily injuries of hers, and that will become obvious.
Nothing's gonna become obvious. Because Kyoko's totally delusional. Who is this someone else that Mukuro was killed as? Was it Sayaka Maizono?
Oh, I see how we're gonna do this.
Junko Enoshima?
We're gonna give away some of the twist here, if I'm right.
Iwata, Chihiro Fujisaki, Mondo Owada, Kiyotaka Ishimaru, Hifumi Yamada, Celestia Lu, whatever, or maybe Sakura Ogami? No. There's no way anyone was murdered twice!
Attack!
No, that's wrong. Junko, wasn't her fatal injury pretty similar to Mukuro's?
What do you mean?
Well, remember what happened to her? She was impaled by a bunch of spears, all over her body.
And Mukuro died from a number of wounds across her body. When you compare that to the stab wounds Junko suffered,
Then the similarities match?
Yes, and those are the only fatal injuries that match up. That explains why those two bodies are actually one and the same.
so let me see if I have this straight.
You're really getting your mileage out of this
Someone going
cutscene.
by that name was stabbed to death with multiple spears. Then her body was kept in the biolab for however long before being dragged out again. Only this time, it was presented as the corpse of one Mukuro Ikusaba.
It all matches up, right? Those wounds Junko suffered could easily be these same injuries.
It's really true? Mukuro and Junko are the same person? Wait, so then... what does it all mean?
It means that there haven't been 10 victims, but 9. Which also means that among the people we thought were dead, one is still alive.
And that's the true identity of the mastermind?
Who is it? Who's behind all this?
We already know the answer to that. It's Mukuro. She's still alive. She took Junko's body and made it look like she was the one who died. So Mukuro is still alive. She's gotta be. Total silence? Then I must be right. I'm right, aren't I?
Mukuro alive? The one that's still alive is Mukuro. But can we really believe that? Oh, intense argument music.
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
Then she's still alive?
That's right. She made it look like Junko's body was her. So the mastermind's true identity is Mukuro.
What do you say, Monokuma? Do you give up?
I can contradict.
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
It was definitely Mukuro.
No, the body we found in the garden was Mukuro. That's one thing we can be sure of. The body's appearance and measurements are consistent with her records. Right, Kyoko?
She was 5 foot 6 inches tall and weighed 97 pounds. Her vitals were 31, 21, 32.
Man, she was tiny. 97 pounds. Yikes.
Everything in her profile is consistent with that corpse.
And then there's the matter of the Fenrir tattoo. So there's no question it's her.
But if Mukuro's not the mastermind, then who's actually still alive?
Someone's made it look like they died, but they're actually still alive. There's only one person it could be. If you haven't figured it out, now is the chance you have to pause the video and place your bets before I give it away. The mastermind is none other than... Junko Enoshima!
Junko is still alive. It's the only possibility.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, come on!
Huh?
I admit, since Mukuro is undoubtedly dead, Junko does seem to be the only other explanation. But we saw her get impaled. She died right before our very eyes. If Junko were still alive, the death we saw would had to have been some kind of charade. But you yourself confirmed she was dead, did you not?
Now that you mention it, I gently placed my hand on Junko's lifeless body. I touched her wrist to check for a pulse like they do in the movies and stuff, but she really is dead. There wasn't anything else to say. She was gone. I did check, absolutely, and I can say for sure.
She was dead. There's no question. Junko was dead.
So, the idea that she's still alive.
It must be wrong.
Oh, come on!
And you're withdrawing your previous statement?
I know you gave it your best shot, but too bad. I guess your conclusion was a dud.
No, it wasn't. I'm sure I'm right.
Too bad, too bad.
This case hasn't been decided just yet.
Oh?
You haven't given up already, have you, Makoto?
Thank you. Huh?
No, of course not. There's no way I'd give up that easy.
That's all well and good, but how do you intend to solve the problem standing in your way? Junko absolutely died. Mukuro absolutely died.
Then both of them are dead, right? There can't be any kind of survivor story.
I think we need to look at this from the opposite direction.
Huh? The opposite direction?
Let's assume Junko is still alive. If so, how could she have survived?
How could Junko have survived? I checked her. She was dead. I'm sure of it. But still, if she were alive somehow, could it be that Junko's not the one that died? It wasn't Junko, but someone else entirely. Maybe she used some sort of trick. And we have a Hangman's Gambit. Yeah, I think I know what this is. Come on, give me an R! Thank you. No, an R! This is the first time I've ever lost life on one of these. It was because I missed the letter I was aiming at.
Now I understand. That's it. What if she switched places with someone else?
Switch places?
That's right. Before the spears could kill her, she got someone to take her place. Specifically, Mukuro Ikusaba.
Then that would make it Mukuro's corpse that showed up later.
Which is why the body's height and weight and everything match Mukuro's profile, right?
I don't know anything about this switching places thing, but that had to be Junko who got stabbed to death, right?
I mean, she had blonde hair and everything.
You're saying they switched? When could they even have done that? Right when she was about to die? Like she used some kind of ninja replacement technique?
No, she's not Naruto.
Good point. There's just no way they could have switched like that. So maybe the whole idea is wrong.
There has to be some way. I need to figure out how to explain how they could have switched. They switched at the beginning!
The two of them may have switched places from the very beginning.
What? From the beginning?
Yes, from the moment we first met. If that's when they switched, then they wouldn't have had to switch at the moment of death, right? After all, the one we saw at that point would have already been Mukuro.
Hold on. So, you're saying the Junko we first met was actually Mukuro all along?
Then we'd already met her?
That is so clever!
I had like a normal conversation with her.
When we first met, none of us knew who anyone else was. So Mukuro could have simply told us her name was Junko, and we never would have known the difference. That would easily allow the two of them to switch places from the very beginning.
Wait, but Mukuro had a tattoo on the back of her hand, right? Junko never had any tattoo like that, did she?
She could have hidden it with foundation or something like that. If she did, it likely melted away in the explosion, exposing the tattoo after the body was extinguished. Plus, there were the fake nails found on the hands of Mukuro's body. They were the same fake red nails she was wearing when we all met for the first time.
But if she really did use foundation...
Correct. Even if there was no tattoo on her hand, I couldn't say for certain it wasn't Mukuro. So I'm glad nobody noticed that glaring hole when we were trying to figure out who attacked Makoto. But too bad for you, Monokuma. You can't deny it anymore.
Wait, so this whole thing was a setup from the very beginning?
If that's true, it was quite an elaborate plan to be sure, making it look like Mukuro was Junko.
The reason such an elaborate plan was possible is because the two of them were working together.
So Mukuro, the ultimate despair, teamed up with someone like her. In other words, it would be fair to say that Junko herself was also the ultimate despair.
Dun dun dun!
What's wrong? Lost the will to fight back?
I think he's just afraid.
Afraid? What's that mean, afraid? Fear is only possible where hope is possible. I only have despair, so fear is an alien concept to me.
Then why haven't you been saying anything?
Because it's a bunch of nonsense. Junko's my secret identity? As if.
Then why did you try and protect Junko's real identity?
I tried to protect her identity? When did I do that?
So, he still refuses to admit it, but he can try to deceive us all he wants, it doesn't matter, because I've already figured it out. He tried to hide Junko's identity, and not just once, but twice. The first time was during our investigation. Oh, wait a second, the DVD. He cut it off, didn't he?
Got it! While I was in the AV room, watching the DVD of our interviews with the headmaster.
Wasn't just the monitor, the DVD player itself had apparently turned off. Which of course meant the DVD wasn't playing anymore. What the heck just happened? Oopsie! Looks like it broke! Out of service! What? It just so happened to break just now? Now, when doesn't matter, failure can strike anywhere, anytime. That's what failure is, right?
You made sure I couldn't finish watching the video. And the reason you did that is because you didn't want me to see the real Junko, did you?
Oh, yeah! If everyone was in that video, of course Junko would have had to show up.
And if Makoto saw the real Junko, it would have been totally obvious that the Junko we met was an imposter.
That whole power outage thing was just a fluke!
No, it wasn't a fluke. The mastermind definitely orchestrated that power outage. And that's not the only time they tried to hide Junko's identity. The mastermind tried to cover up one other piece of evidence. I've got to reveal that. Oh, it looks like we're having a fight. And Monokuma's just gonna say "grar" over and over and over again, isn't he? Yep. Oh, this is gonna get me. Stop it! Shut up!
I was waiting for you. I'm
Okay.
not listening.
You're saying other
What
things.
are you even talking about?
Now we're back to grar. Let's supercharge the tempo meter.
Punishment is waiting for you. I'm not listening. What are you even talking about?
Aha!
That's impossible!
With the photos! Fire! Fire! Fire!
Should prove it. The video wasn't the only thing you tried to cover up. You did the same thing with this group photo.
Oh.
I noticed it just a little while ago, when we were all comparing the photos we'd gotten. In all the photos, there's a certain similarity, an unusual circumstance.
What's so unusual about them?
The unusual circumstance common to all these pictures. The unusual circumstance is Junko's face!
Junko's face. The one thing common to every single photo is that you can't see her face. It's hard to believe her face would just happen to be hidden in every single picture, don't you think? And on top of that, in this photo, you can see that Mukuro is clearly visible. So in other words, at that point, the two of them hadn't switched yet. With all that in mind, there's no doubt that the girl whose face is hidden here is the real Junko, which is why you had to have pictures that didn't show her face. Because if we could have seen her face, then it would have clearly revealed that the Junko in the pictures wasn't the Junko that we knew.
Xanadu!
What?
I believe everything Makoto said is true. Junko and Mukuro switched places before we met either of them.
So she killed Mukuro, who had taken her place, making it look like she'd died. And the real Junko is still alive.
And she's the one behind this whole murderous situation. This killing game. She's the true mastermind and the ultimate despair.
Xanadu times 2!
With this, the identity and the crimes of the mastermind have been exposed.
No, wait! Hold on!
Don't bother trying to deny it. There's no more room for debate. You don't have anywhere left to run. I'll prove everything. Right now.
Oh, right. It's comic book time! First, we met Mukuro Ikusaba. And then I guess Act 2 is already done for me. The Mastermind kept Mukuro's body in the freezer. The Mastermind attacked with a knife. And they were confronted by her, Kyoko. The Mastermind fled the room. The Mastermind fled the room. There we go. After the mask was taken off, they slammed it onto the body's head and put a bomb on it. Wait a minute. I don't think I paid attention to what that said. Condition of the dead body. Yes, no, it was like this. Then the bomb exploded, and the body exploded too.
The killer is you.
Awesome music
We met
time!
the ultimate fashionista, Junko and Oshima, right after we all arrived here. But that wasn't the real Junko. The girl we saw before us was actually the 16th student who had taken Junko's place. And that girl's name was Mukuro Ikusaba. But it wasn't long before she died at the hands of Monokuma. In other words, the mastermind, Junko, and Oshima. Her body was kept in a biolab, which had been converted into a morgue, until Junko decided to put her body to use. Junko dragged the body out of the biolab, using the tarp to carry her to the garden. She fabricated the murder to try and frame Kyoko, who proved to be one big thorn in her side. Meanwhile, she wanted us all to think Mukuro was still alive and hiding somewhere inside the school. So she put on a mask and then attacked me. After making sure I'd gotten a good look at the mask, she left the room. Then she put the same mask on Mukuro's body. This was all to make us think the person who attacked me and the corpse were one and the same. She wanted us to believe the murder had only recently taken place. Finally, by strapping a bomb to the body, she was able to destroy any remaining evidence. She needed to hide the body's true identity. She had to make sure we didn't find out it was actually the same person we'd met in the beginning. This is the truth behind Mukuro's murder. And the one who carried it all out is the true mastermind. The one controlling Monokuma.
Say it with me, folks.
The real
Junko Enoshima!
That's the whole story behind this incident. Well, what do you have to say to that?
What? Are you broken again?
You can't get out of this, so don't even try.
Come on! It's time you finally revealed yourself!
It's not like you're an endangered species or something. How long do you plan to keep hiding?
Give it up, Junko. The game's over.
Over? Did you really think the story would end once we reached the climax of the case? Wrong! There's still plenty more to go!
Oh boy. Uh-oh. Ooh, mystery, mystery, mystery. Aha! Junko Enoshima, the ultimate despair.
We have been waiting
Oh.
so very long for peasants like you to appear.
She's British and wearing a crown. That's not really what I was expecting.
If you swear your fealty to us, we will reward you with half of the entire world.
What?
We've even drawn up the deed already. We will grant you honor, status, in some of our home cooking. Have you made your choice? Will you serve under us?
No?
Oh, did you think I was being serious?
Okay, this is a little bit
Sorry.
more what I was
I
expecting.
was just messing with you. It's been so long since I've had an audience. Even I'm not sure what kind of role I'm supposed to play.
This is the mastermind? She's the real Junko Enoshima.
Anyway, looks like I've finally been set free.
She's really bored. Anyway, looks like I've finally been set free.
Having to play Monokuma all the time, day after day.
You know what, Junko? I freaking sympathize with you. That voice is freaking annoying. It really hurts. You know, we should talk. We should talk when this game is over.
It was like I was stuck in purgatory. Or like a slow suicide. I get bored so easy, you know?
Face.
Huh? What about my face?
We can't see it because you're covering it up.
What's wrong with my beautiful face? People have told me I'm cuter than 100 chihuahuas combined.
You don't really look that different than Mukuro.
I feel like this isn't the first time I've seen you.
I do remember seeing it. I'm sure I've seen her I'm sure I've seen her too somewhere. Was it before arriving at school in a magazine?
I got it! That's right. It was before I ever came to this school. I remember seeing a magazine cover. And you were on it.
Wow, you have a pretty good memory. I guess that's why you've made it this far, huh?
So I was right. Then what you told me in the main hall when this all began...
I've seen her on tons of magazine covers, but I feel like that doesn't quite match up to reality. Okay, as far as I can tell, the only really distinct facial difference between Mukuro and Junko is that Mukuro has some freckles and smiles. Huh? Oh, are you talking about my cover photos and junk? Well, of course, those are totally photoshopped. Photoshopped? Yeah, you know, edited to hell and back with, like, computers and junk. I have no idea what voice I was doing for this character back at the beginning of this game. Oh, so they aren't real.
Sometimes a little lie is necessary to keep things moving along. Wouldn't you agree?
That explains why she didn't quite seem the same. Because she was a different person all along.
I'm me. And Mukuro is Mukuro.
Oh, don't tell me you're turning into Taka now. I am me!
She tried her best. But there's just no way she could have passed as the ultimate fashionista.
I just got done saying how you look almost exactly identical.
Two people can never become one as long as the walls of mind and body exist.
Why are you getting all philosophical here?
Not even if they're twins.
Oh, well that explains it.
Twins!
I know, it's such a cliche, right? I'm almost embarrassed to admit it. So basically, Mukuro and I had your stereotypical twin relationship. The older sister, tough and proud. That was Mukuro. The younger sister, smart and cute. That was...
What?
Me! Junko fucking Enoshima!
Turned into Genocide Jack all of a sudden? What's with the tongue?
And together, we were the Despair Sisters, aka the Ultimate Despair!
Okay, this is insane.
Whoa! She's a totally different person now.
Like I said, I get bored easy as hell. I even get fucking bored with myself.
It's a good character choice for somebody who's got nothing to live for, you know, the whole, like, despair thing.
But if you're twins, why do you have different last names?
Because otherwise this would be way too easy to figure out.
Oh, that again? You have any idea how many times people ask me that shit? Maybe it's new to your dumb ass, but it bores me to tears. Answering the same questions over and over? Just make up whatever answer you want. I don't give a shit. The truth's fucking lame anyway.
I don't know how much of this last trial the game's just been like, don't ask us for all the answers. They aren't necessary. Just, you know, do what we need to do to come up with an explanation for yourself so we can keep the game going.
If she was your twin, that means you killed your own sister?
What part of psychopath serial killer aren't you understanding?
And for reasons deeper and darker than the ocean. Ha! As if.
Well, I suppose I'd better explain.
Okay, we've switched personas again.
For my plan to work, someone had to be able to control the killing game from behind the scenes. The so-called mastermind had to operate Monokuma, keep an eye on everyone, things like that. But after looking at the situation, I determined it would be impossible for Mukuro to perform such duties. Because naturally, she turned out to be the letdown of the family,
The ultimate soldier was the letdown of the family.
leaving me behind to run off and join some band of mercenaries. Such a disappointment.
So you were just jealous?
So, I decided to play the role of director and have her join the rest of you in your school life. I could have let her work alongside me, but she would have been useless to me that way. Besides, 15 students seemed like a solid number to start with. Of course, the fact that she was the ultimate soldier posed something of a problem. She had what I call the 3 atrocities. Atrociously rank, atrociously filthy, atrociously repulsive.
It didn't seem that weird when we saw pictures of her.
It was atrociously clear just how out of touch she was with the rest of society.
So you thought she should try acting?
Meanwhile, my ultimate fashionista status has an undeniable appeal that I didn't want to go to waste.
This person is, like, seemingly unaware of how stuck up she is.
And that's why you switched identities?
Sadly, her inability to match my personality was even greater than I'd calculated. It was a lost cause. She was nothing more than a bit player, an extra unworthy of lines. Being the utter disappointment that she was, anyone would have expected her to get killed off right away.
Like, she's making this big deal about, like, oh, I'm the ultimate despair, you know, we're out to kill everything. I don't really know exactly what her motivation is, but it seems like her motivation is a lot more selfish than she's letting on, because she's mad at Mukuro for leaving, and then she's, like, trying to get revenge on Mukuro there. I don't know.
Which is precisely why I killed her. To meet everyone's expectations.
She just seems like she has a lot more, like, self-motivated ideals than she's willing to let on.
That can't be your only reason, can it?
Well, no, of course not. I also did it to avoid becoming bored.
I've never been a stickler for
Oh,
following
no.
the plan to the letter, you know?
Oh, no.
If I planned everything out and knew just what was gonna happen, that'd be so boring. So, I changed things just a bit and decided to use Mukuro to make a little point.
Is she literally just, like, restyling her hair while she's standing here every time she changes these personalities?
In other words, Mukuro's death was a one-sided, premeditated act of betrayal, just as I suspected. When Mukuro was killed, she must have been as surprised as anybody else.
Well, that explains what she said. What? Huh? This wasn't supposed to... Why, me? I did think that was weird at the time.
So, you figured it out? Well, you're right. There's no way Mukuro could have pulled off such a convincing performance. But she did teach you all a very valuable lesson, don't you think?
How can you talk like that? You sacrificed your own sister. How does that not even bother you?
What? I sacrificed her? That's what's got you so hot under the collar? Jeez, misunderstandings sure are scary. We were the ultimate despair, you know? So we never had any kind of hope or expectations.
Why?
Nope. I felt despair as long as I can remember. Like I never should have been born at all. When I was born, I cried tears of total despair.
What?
So that's why for us, it's not a big deal whether we die or kill.
It seemed like it was a big deal to Mukuro.
We're just those kinds of people. We can do anything. We've always been filled with despair. So when we do something, we go all the way and live without regret.
So you just murdered your own sister and didn't think anything of it?
If you were filled with despair, it seems like you wouldn't have the motivation to do anything.
That's not true at all.
Now we got sad Junko. What's with the mushrooms?
We were twins. How could I not be sad?
Why is she growing mushrooms on her head all of a sudden? Did she just put those there?
That's why it gets me so excited. Killing my precious sister with my own two hands.
With spears that I fired out of the wall while in a room several floors away?
That act is filled with so much despair. You can't help but put a super in front of it. It's like super, 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 super despair. No, more than that. Super, 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 super despair.
What the hell?
It just feels so good.
You know, I thought it was going to be hard to top Toko as the most messed up person in the crew, but you're doing it.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You've even got Hiro confused. I mean, that's not very hard.
And my sister, too. In that moment of death, I think she must have felt that despair. After all, to be murdered by your own sister, and only as an example to someone else, she must have died feeling such excruciating hopelessness. I'm so jealous of her. Super jealous.
I knew you couldn't be just some ordinary person. You're some kind of abnormality.
Devastating put down, Byakuya. You're an abnormality.
Turning your own despair into some kind of fetish. Abnormality doesn't even begin to describe it.
Like, Genocide Jill is crazy for sure, but this is a whole nother level of nuts.
You're saying I don't compare to some lowly beast that can only kill the weak, right? So, I'm hopelessly attractive, hopelessly brilliant, hopelessly athletic.
What?
I'm the hopelessly perfect ultimate human.
No. I don't think there's anything perfect about anything you just said.
Yeah, Master's way more perfect. Because on top of everything else, he's got that noble blood.
Huh? Don't you mean had that noble blood?
When we took your memories, I also took all of Byakuya's blood and replaced it with pudding.
What did you just say? What do you mean by that?
You still haven't figured that part out yet? Man, you guys are so slow!
Oh boy.
You haven't even solved all the mysteries, and yet here you are, yapping away!
Are you talking about our memories?
You've already solved this mystery, right? I'm the killer! So how about the next one? Maybe you should solve the riddle of your missing memories. Then you can start floating!
Damn straight! That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to solve all these mysteries. And then...
It's like some kind of
we'll have our
gangland
victory.
Scooby-Doo there.